Alex here with an event video on the Judicial Discipline of Justice of the Peace Melanie Andress-Tobiasson, a case involving a sitting judge accused of misconduct surrounding her personal investigation of a business establishment her daughter frequented that she suspected involved a pimp running an underage prostitution ring. Prosecuting Officer Thomas Bradley outlines a long list of factual allegations that assert the judge first staked out the establishment herself and subsequently began to contact a number of vice detectives to ask them to investigate the establishment, underlining the fact that on occasion these discussions would occur when detectives visited her chambers to request that she authorize search warrants on other unrelated cases. It is further alleged that the suspected pimp, Shane Valentine, was later assigned to her department on unrelated charges, and that the judge contacted Mr. Valentine's lawyer while presiding over the case to tell his client to stop calling her daughter, or she would, quote, take care of it herself, and that on one occasion she, quote, went to Mr. Valentine's house and kicked in the door, unquote. Shortly thereafter, a deadly shooting occurred at the establishment, and she failed to recuse herself when search warrants were requested, and in fact, granted the issuance of the warrant. It is further alleged that a, quote, organized crime figure, unquote, in communication with the judge on her investigation of the establishment appeared before her in a domestic battery case, and that she presided over the hearing and dismissed the pending charges against him. It is further alleged that the judge claimed in a publicized interview that some vice detectives were protecting certain pimps in exchange for bribes and sex, and accused the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department of corruption. Prosecuting Officer Thomas Bradley leveled 8 counts against the judge, accusing her of multiple canon violations, including a failure to comply with the law, a failure to promote confidence in the judiciary, abusing the prestige of office to advance personal interests, a failure to uphold the law, a failure to disqualify, permitting undue influence, and undermining the integrity of the judiciary. Justice of the Peace Melanie Andress-Tobiasson fired back, arguing that, quote, the bias in the prosecution of these charges shows a total disregard for the underlying purpose of the commission, unquote, asserting additionally that her, quote, anti-sex trafficking position as a mother is not inconsistent with her duties as a judge, unquote, and that the actions she took were supported by the parental responsibility law and, quote, were unequivocally taken in her capacity as a mother, unquote. The judge further argues that the Doug Papa interviews were taken out of context and portions of them may have been improperly shared with non-investigators, and that other portions may have improperly been withheld from a substitute investigator, and asserts that the commission's use of the interviews is to, quote-unquote, railroad her and are contrary to the precedent holding that judges are also entitled to First Amendment protections. In a separate civil rights lawsuit, which was filed in federal court, the judge accuses the commission of conspiring with Sheriff Joe Lombardo and District Attorney Steve Wolfson in an effort to ruin her career after going public and speaking out against them, citing specifically their efforts to have her removed from cases, as well as remarks they made to then Chief Justice of the Peace Joe Bonaventure about wanting to, quote, handle this quietly, unquote. Thomas Armstrong, the presiding officer of the commission, is joined by Chairman Gary Vause, Vice Chair Stephanie Humphrey, Justice of the Peace Stephen Bishop, attorney members Carl Armstrong and Don Christensen, and lay member Joseph Sanford. We submitted a media request, and the Commission on Judicial Discipline has granted that request, allowing us to provide comprehensive electronic coverage of the disciplinary proceedings starting May 17th at 8 a.m. The Commission is represented by prosecuting officers Thomas Bradley, Brian Hutchins, and Richard Dreitzer. The judge is represented by Mark Cook and Thomas Sheets. You can keep up to date with our coverage schedule by visiting ournevadajudges.com, and as with our previous videos, feel free to post any questions you have down in the comments below, or you can send us an email at admin@ournevadajudges.com.
I find you in contempt. I am going to incarcerate you.
Pursuant to that Supreme Court rule, your death penalty qualified. Please put in writing your concerns or objections.
Any statement that you make is under penalty of perjury.
Nope, that's not how that works.
We will take this case under submission.
That would require proof by very significant evidence.
I want them to be present, and I want to be able to see them throughout these proceedings.